All right, Baz, how's it going?
Very well. How are you, Alex?
I'm very good, sir. I'm very good. What do we have this week? French film?
Yeah, French film. Netflix. This was on. It's called Divines. Don't know why it's called that, but anyway, it's called Divines, and essentially the story entails two French girls that are living in the slums in Paris. I think we would agree on that.
Yeah.
Dunya and her friend, and essentially it's
two teenagers. Yeah.
Two teenagers, yeah, and it's their story of kind of coming of age really, and knowing their true worth. Kind of embroiled in a bit of a love story halfway through the film as well, which keeps the ladies interested in this one if you want. But no, and essentially what it is Dunya starts off very, very poor, going to school, and then she kind of realises that she can come into some sort of wealth if she starts working for the local drug dealer, essentially. Correct. Which is this female called Rebecca. So that's the premise of the film, really. So what did you think of it, Alex?
Yeah. So, this is a 2016 film, and I came to see it, to think about seeing it because it was nominated for Cannes. Well, actually won some awards at Cannes, but it's full of energy, man. I mean, These two teenagers, these two girls, they're not just your average shy girls. They're really out there, and they put their soul in everything they do.
Both of them. Troublemakers. Both troublemakers.
Yeah. And it's always, I felt like as troublemaker as she is, she lives in these slums, and she's a standing, participant of the slums, because she does the shopping for the elderly and for the neighbors, and she tries to make a living out of that, but she just doesn't seem to have any option besides going on the wrong side of the law. The film just shows you that situation so well, and the character is so well played, and it drops this ambitious character in the middle of poverty, basically, and just deal with it. Just basically said, fate says, go ahead and see what you can do from here. And she is going to a school which seems to be a school for the similar, what do you call it?
Group of people, a group of society.
Part of society. And she has a moment, there's a scene that we talked about, she has a moment in the school when she realizes that the system, like she likes to call it the system, but the teacher is trying to show her how to do a receptionist job. And then she just has a complete sort of rant against why, if I'm a bit more ambitious, why do I have to follow, to learn what you're teaching me? And just goes to show, if you're trying, the society wants you to stay mediocre in that.
What the teacher showed in that scene is,
as soon as you're trying to go out, then you have to rely to doing, trafficking and stuff.
What that scene's showing, I think, is that essentially you can live a normal life if you're non-ambitious and you keep your head down and just kind of be a sheep. This girl, Dunya, she isn't a sheep, man. She's a one in a million. She wants to make something of herself. But by doing that, as you say, she has to kind of turn to the dark side and start dealing drugs and start working for a quite a violent woman in Paris, and and that's kind of like her only option, really. I think that's a point in the film, but it depends of what philosophy you kind of think of, because if you're quite happy and content with a decent amount of money and a decent job and nothing special, then you can live a normal life, which is what the teacher kind of explains in that scene. But it's a very small scene at the start, but it's quite enigmatic to portray what the whole film's trying to say. And then of course there's this love interest, which I think is captured really well. I'm not really into love interest when it comes in films unless it's done well, and this one's done great. So there's this security guard that works at the mall where Dunya and her friend goes quite a bit, and at first he sees them as troublemakers.
They go to steal.
Yeah, they go to steal, so he knows this, and then they kind of like, there's this beautiful kind of thing where they realise that he's into his dancing, like this kind of like expression of emotion through dance, really.
It's almost like a modern ballet or something.
Freestyle kind of ballet, and they watch him do these lessons because they find out where he trains, and then over a period of time, she actually falls in love with him. I would say just from watching him kind of dance, and it goes from hating him to kind of a really good genuine love interest.
It's just dawned on me. You know what? we're just talking about the lack of options for her if she wants to, if she's ambitious. Her only option, it seems to be, that she seems to be presented with, is going to school and, you know, follow that path.
Yeah.
But then she sees, oh, my only option is drug trafficking if I really want to, if I'm ambitious.
Well, she
But
sees
then-
success
but then,
with this Rebecca,
and then when she meets the dancer, she sees another option, the safest option.
Yeah.
And that's why she tries, you remember, she tries to, without spoiling too much, she tries to one last job in order to grab the money and just go away and disappear. Remember?
I mean, but you could also argue, because there was a situation where she had the choice where she could either go and watch her newfound love do his first dance routine in front of a crowd, or she could do this big job for Rebecca, and she chooses the big job. And and in that point in the film, I was thinking, okay, well, there's a moment here where she could have chosen the good over the evil, but she hasn't. And this character is quite interesting, because I think genuinely at heart she's a good person, because in the film she saves the life of this love interest of hers, this gentleman who can dance. And this is at the point when she hated him. So she hated him, and he was in danger, like he could have died. I won't spoil the scene, but he was in danger, and she came back to help him when she didn't need to. So obviously she's good at heart. And there's another scene in the film where the drug dealer woman, Rebecca, who Dunya works for, she's in massive danger, and again Dunya decides to save her when she doesn't need to.
Oh yes.
So you remember what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like the character's a bit of a crazy one, really. You know, she's obviously got a good heart, but she just makes wrong decisions a lot of the time.
I think she's well, exactly. So at her age, I don't know if you remember, we're talking about the 16-year, 17-year-old girl here. And she's presented with such harsh decisions to make, you know. It's not easy to see when somebody's almost dying and save his life. And, you know, it's not easy to decide if you're going to jump and risk your neck to save her crook boss, her drug dealer of a boss. So, and this is a 16-year-old. And on top of everything else, it's not easy to make a decision about your own life at so early. That can have such drastic consequences that it shows eventually that it has. And it's just that it's a very well-rounded film, because in the same slums you get issues with religion and issues with the law.
Well,
with
it's funny, you know, we just said about turning
that friction
towards...
is so real.
Yeah, turning towards crime as a solution, and then you said turning towards love might be a solution. But in the film, Dunya's friend has got this family who, as you say, have almost chosen religion as a way of getting out of the life they're in. But it's just their life is now indoctrinated with, like, you know, extreme control, essentially, because of the religion they're under. But that is a way out almost. That's kind of like to justify they're morally better than the other people in the slum, because
morally, not
they are turned to God.
Yeah, not necessarily morally. It's a solution, not necessarily financially, because they're still living in the slums, even if they follow the religion. But all this stuff, we're talking about heavy stuff, and it's all in an hour and a half of a film. It's really brilliant that it's so rich on these heavy subjects. So it's called Divines. It's on Netflix. I've seen it. Yeah,
it's a good film,
cool.
man.
Good.
Watch it.
Yeah, talk next week, sir.
Take care, man. Bye.
Have a good one.